So here's what's the deal. It's summertime. A lot of conferences, a lot of inside, like the, what do they call it? Steam Nextfest. We got summer sale. We've got E3 type of conferences related, like online things. A lot of promotion opportunities. We had like 2 event notifications like yesterday saying like, sign up for these events. A lot of events coming in. So I want to check in with the community. Make sure you're ready for the summer. And then part of that is I just got back from GDC, and I always do this conference recap, which is the Inside conference. I pick the best speakers that I saw at GDC, and I say, hey, why don't we just do a little micro conference? I'll interview you about what you talked about, some of the things. Then you just get this nice conference. You don't have to travel to GDC. You can stay inside. It's all virtual, and I'm launching that today. If you look over in the offers tab, there's a little button to click and buy it there. It starts on Monday. So that's part of what I'm kicking off. And then I'm also doing question and answer. So if you've got questions about Steam Nextfest, that pop it in the questions, the Q&A tab. Okay. If you put them in there before that spider web broke and I lost my internet, pop it in there. Pop them in the Q&A tab. I lost them. So if you asked them, ask it again. I don't mind if it's a duplicate. So just post it in the Q&A tab, like whatever your questions about anything, marketing, conferences like Steam Nextfest, these E3 conferences, ask away. Just pop them in there and we'll go through it and I'll start answering some. So let me just recap GDC. I did it. I gave 2 talks at GDC, and one of them just went up on TikTok, and even the TikTok clip is getting more views than a video about Baldur's Gate 3 kissing. That's a hot topic. Everybody wants to know about that. My TikTok's getting higher than that. People want this information, and it's about it was the Steam Secrets TikTok thing. That was my talk. Like all these Steam secrets that people don't really talk about, but they're very valuable. Like they get you hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, there's a lot of caveats. You have to have a game that's reached real steam, and we'll talk about that. But those same talks, same content, I'm giving in this Inside conference. So we'll cover in there. So I'm seeing questions pop in. That's great. Keep popping those questions in. Now, part of this Inside conference, that's the old one. So this is the old one when I got COVID and couldn't go to San Francisco. The new one looks like this. It's also saying, like, if you didn't get to go to San Francisco, X on the Golden Gate Bridge, you can go virtually to this thing. So the Inside conference, this one, here's the speakers that we're going to have, and it starts all over the next 3 weeks. So I space them out. They're all virtual. So what you do is you sign up for the thing, and then what you have to do is you have to go through and sign up for every webinar for each one of these sessions. And they were sprinkled because people are busy. So I don't like it like a huge talk. It blows my brain. It's basically 1 to 2 talks, mostly 1 talk per day over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And basically it's a live call. We've got Jenny, who is an influencer contact. You know, she directs influencer relations. She's going to teach you how to like contact streams. Like, how do you literally write the email? People always talk about like, how do I email them? We're going to talk about it. I'm going to ask her about it. We got Thomas. Thomas is from Future Friends, founder of Future Friends, the publisher. They just published Sarah Kingdom. He's got a thing like, how much do you spend on marketing? I get that question all the time. People are like, well, how much do I spend on marketing? Every time. He breaks it down. We're going to go step by step. How much do you have to spend on marketing? Lenofi, I always say puzzle games are very, 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 very hard to market. Well, she figured it out. Figured out how to market a puzzle game. Did very well with Down Bun Burrows. It's a really cute game. We're going to talk about like, okay, yes, it's hard marketing a puzzle game, but how do you do it? And then we have Tomas. Let me scroll down so you can see his name. Tomas. He just did Bulwark Falcon Chronicles, city builder-ish game. Did very well. He used a demo throughout. He even launched with the demo still live. I want to ask him, like, how do you build a demo? You know, what are the secrets to it? How do you market your game using a demo, which is really the hot thing. And then there's me. I'm giving those 2 talks that are behind paywall at GDC. Well, I'm giving them at this. And I'm also going to do a Steam page critique. So if you've got a Steam page and you want me to take a look at it, when you get this conference, there'll be a form. You submit your Steam page and I'll look through them. Now, I don't do everybody who submits because sometimes it's the same problems over and over again, and I don't like to repeat myself. So I'll look, and if there's a common theme among a lot of them, I'll just say, oh, these commonly had this. So there's no guarantee that well, if you get into the conference and you submit your page, it'll be done. Because maybe your page is perfect. And I'm like, it's perfect. That's not good content. So I only pick out certain ones. But I'll try and get as many as I can. And then finally, we got the folks from Hooded Horse. They got broken between the two lines. But Snow and Tim from Hooded Horse, they're an awesome publisher. They have never had an unsuccessful game published under Hooded Horse. It's amazing. So I asked them, like, how do you get published by Hooded Horse or publishers in general? They have a very unique way of doing it. They don't have pitch decks. They don't do it. They're just like, your game's cool, come on in, and then you do amazing. So that's those folks. So that's the conference. And again, here's the secret thing. If you buy it right during this hour, this is the lowest discount it's going to be. I knocked $15 off for this hour. At the end of this coupon goes away. Okay, this $15 coupon. And if you buy it this hour, I am going to tack on the old conference. So this old conference, I just go through everybody who bought it with this coupon. And all you do is you click the offers tab, and then you'll see that coupon. If you buy it now, after this meeting's over, I just go through and I add this conference for free. This was last year's conference, but you have to buy it this hour. So you get $15 off, and you get this last year's conference for free. All I have to do. But if you already bought this conference, I'm just not going to add it because you already have it. But anyway, so if you're at all curious about this festival, this Inside conference that starts on Monday, now's the time to buy it. Again, at the end of this call, I'm killing this coupon, so you don't get the $15 off. The price is going to go up a little bit. All right, let me get into some Q&As. You all are here. Thank you so much for the Q&As. Okay, so what's the ideal time to enter Steam Nextfest? You want to do the last one before you launch, and here's the reason why. Steam Nextfest always kind of ranks games. It's not explicit. It's not like the most wishlisted, the games in wishlist order. That's not the case. But for some reason, the algorithm kind of promotes the games that already have a ton of wish lists. So you want to go in as hot as possible to Steam Nextfest with as many wish lists as you can. And also at the end, you've kind of like figured out your marketing. You know which influencers like your game, you like all this stuff, and you want to do it at the end, because what you want to do is, and this goes, probably going to get a question about this, before Nextfest, I would say like the couple weeks before you do Steam Nextfest, you want to do a big marketing beat. You want to get streamers to play your game way before, like 2 to 3 weeks before Steam Nextfest, because you want to be rolling in hot with lots of wish lists generated. And it's easier to do that if you've already built contacts with streamers. Maybe somebody streamed your demo earlier and they liked it. Come back to them and say, hey, I added new content. I put your avatar in the game. You're one of the NPCs or whatever. I don't know what. And then they play. They're like, oh, cool, I'll play it. Couple weeks before Steam Nextfest. That gives you more wish lists in the short bit before Nextfest, and then you roll into it. It's very hard to do that if it's your first thing. Like, oh, we just launched our Steam page, we're going to opt into Nextfest. I also don't recommend you launch your demo during Nextfest. In other words, like, nobody's seen it. You want your demo to be like a good baseball mitt. If you're not an American, you always have to work your baseball mitt in. You always have to oil it and park a car on it. You want that like your demo. Like, yeah, we tried it. We've tested it. We've done another bunch of festivals. We have streamers play it. We know all the kinks, because a lot of times there's weird things about your demo. Like, if you push down when you push the start button, it crashes the game. You don't want people discovering that on your Nextfest. The Nextfest is your grand finale before you launch your game. So do the last Nextfest. Don't launch your demo with Nextfest. Launch your demo much earlier. Get the kinks out, and then go from there. All right, next question. How do you generate initial visibility for your game? This is a great question. I'll be talking about that kind of in one of my talks that is in this Inside conference. I've got one that's called the new meta on Steam. Here's what it is. This is the basic one. Initial impression is you got to make a good trailer announcing your game. And it's got to be really catchy, action first, no logos, no slow roll where you just slowly pan across an environment, or like text emerges from the mist and it says, in a world of fantasy, where are the 7 keys of Amethyst? You don't do that. You just go straight into gameplay, big explosions, big sword fights, whatever it is, exciting. And you title this trailer Announce Trailer. For some reason, when you put the word Announce Trailer, it gets more views because you're announcing your game. So you announce your game with that. You reach out to streamers ahead of time, TikTokers, reach out to IGN, see if they'd like your trailer before you launch it, and say, hey, we're going to launch a trailer on this date. Would you like to get that special access? Yes, maybe. The other thing that you can do is, before you're going to launch your announce your game, look at these festivals, howtomarketagame.com/festivals. We always do these festivals. Apply for some festivals now. You got to kind of do the backwards algebra to figure out when you're going to launch and when the festival is happening. Say, we're going to announce our game. Would you like to have the exclusive announced during this festival? Festivals love if you've got an early announce, if you're announcing something at their festival, because that gives them an extra boost of visibility. So the combination of the announced trailer, which you've reached out to TikTokers, YouTubers, possibly streamers, and IGN's trailer department, you get that coverage, plus the exclusive reveal in the festival. If you can get those to time, that's not always there. Your game has to be awesome to get into those. That is the best way to launch a game. That's the best way to announce. Don't just put it out there and do like one half-ass tweet like a week later and be like, oh yeah, we launched our game. Don't just put it out there. You have to have the trailer. It has to be awesome. Okay. Benjamin, what have I been playing lately? Well, Bun Barrow's been playing a little research. That's fun. I play a lot of Plants vs. Zombies with my kid because he likes it. Every stripe. Garden Warfare 2, Garden Warfare 3. I tried to install the Plants vs. Zombies 3, but I don't have a region lock. I don't know how to do that. I tried to get a VPN to do it, but it's too hard. Big Plants vs. Zombies house. Okay. So if you're just joining us, thank you so much for being on the air. This is just the summer check-in to see how you all are doing, because we got a lot of festivals coming up in the summer months until August, when all of Europe goes on vacation for some reason, and then the festivals stop in August. But we're entering into that season, so you got to be ready. I mean, I know it seems early, but a lot of these festivals and stuff start organizing now. So I always recommend howtomarketagame.com/festivals to see the upcoming festivals, and there are a lot open right now. Apply. Hope that you get in, because it's a big, busy season coming up. So now is the time to think about it. If you're like, we're going to do this next fest, get that demo out now, I'd say. Get that demo out now if you can, or at least run a beta. If you're not ready to full launch it, start testing the beta. You do not want to debut your trailer or your demo during Nextfest. I know that sounds weird, but remember, Nextfest always lets you in. Okay, they always let you in. But other festivals don't. You have to have something special to bring to the festival. So when you're applying for these festivals, some of the things are like, hey, what can you bring to us at our festival? You could say, we're debuting our new demo. Nobody's played this demo. You would be the debut. And then those festival organizers are like, that's pretty cool. We're going to let this person in because they're debuting something. That's awesome. That's awesome. So they will let you in sometimes. That's another like carrot that you can dangle in front of them and say, let us in. And they're like, yes, new demo release. That's what I always recommend. Don't debut your demo during Nextfest, because that's the big show. That's the grand finale. If you're debuting your demo, and we're going to talk about this in my talk, you want to warm this up before, so that, because sometimes there's bugs, or you're like, God, that tutorial, everybody hates the tutorial. That's not good, right? You want to work those bugs out before. But anyway, so yeah, part of the reason I'm also doing this is today I'm launching the course. You can buy tickets. This is the early access for the Inside conference, which I run every year after GDC. Pick the best speakers from GDC, bring them into my own little conference. We go straight to the details. It's me interviewing them, and I just interview them and say, hey, what's going on? Why? How do I market my game? How do I get streamers to play my game? How do I literally write out the email to contact a streamer so they can play my game? Okay, that's what you got to do. So we're coming with these experts. I interview these experts. Here's the experts. To book it, $15 off if you buy this hour. Look at the offers tab. That's where you sign up for it. Okay, let me get to some more questions here. How to prepare for specific theme Steam Fest. I think what they're talking about is, so Steam, if you go into Steamworks, you can opt into some festivals. They're like mini Steam Nextfests. The good thing is game can be on sale or not. And it's very similar to Steam Nextfest. You want to generate a little bit burst of traffic right before the festival starts. Okay. And, what you can do is, like I said, streamers, maybe reach out to some TikTokers, maybe try and Reddit, because sometimes, and it's different for every festival, we never know what they look like until they happen. They usually have a trending widget, a widget that says trending games or most played demos, something like that. They always have something like that. So if you come in hot just before the festival, you increase the visibility. You're going to be higher up on that festival, and that's an important thing. The other thing is, I would check my tags. Make sure that your tags are very relevant. Don't lie about your tags. A lot of people ask, what's the most popular tags? That's not the thing. make them the most relevant, because a lot of those fests, they break down subcategories within there. So if it's like a survival festival, they might have farming survival or zombie survival. And so you want to make sure your tags are there, because they're kind of auto-generated based off of your subtags and stuff. So just make sure everything's accurate. The other thing I would do is, if your game's for sale, might be time to do a content update. Again, you get that generated up boost of traffic leading into the festival. So if you drop a big update, get streamers to play it, that's great. And then your title for your capsule looks different. Like maybe put, like zombie update or something on your capsule. That looks different when people are scanning that Steam Festival page. So all those things are really great ways to do that. Now, I'm going to flip over to a bunch of people had Q&As to submit early. They couldn't be here today. And yes, this is being recorded. Everything I do is recorded. So I want to answer some of the questions of people who submitted early. So these are questions from people that submitted early. Okay. Why is the games industry struggling, and why teaching marketing is more profitable than selling indie games? That's directed right at me. Okay, so why is the industry struggling? Here's my thought: is it's interest rates. The industry, it's a lot of credit that the industry runs on. And so there's a lot of investors. I knew like about 5 years ago when I first started doing this stuff, Hollywood was just dumping money on video games, because they're like, we got so much money, we don't even know what to do with all this money. Let's buy video games. Let's put money in video games. And so a lot of studios, like publishers, studios, were just getting money from Hollywood, from the movie makers. Like, hey, we think we need to diversify our portfolio, buy some stuff. So we're just getting free money. And so a lot of studios were upgrading. They were like, all right, we'll just hire up. We're going to make more games. We're getting all this money. What are we going to do with it? So that's what they were doing. And so there was this bubble, because cheap credit, cash was cheap. It was zero interest rates, basically. They could do all this stuff. So they upgraded the thing. So I think the industry is actually like, it's at the same growth trajectory it always was. But then all of a sudden, all this cash from free money came in. And so the studios hired up. And now that's over. I mean, the interest rates are high because of inflation, so they're lowering the interest rates are going up. So people aren't just throwing money at us anymore. And so that was an artificial inflated thing, and it's just deflating that a little bit. So I know it looks like the whole industry is crashing, but I think it's just returning to what it should be outside of that bubble. I think it's basically what happened. And so that's what it is. And why is it more profitable to do this? It's because I'm better at this than I am making games. I kind of realized I'm not actually good at making games. Like, you have to realize your strengths, and my strengths is I don't have it. I don't have that magic. I would say it's the magic. I don't know how to make games. Like, I know how to make them, like put them together, but I don't know how to make a game, like a game that is made, that's like the magic. I just don't have the touch. I don't have it. But the magic thing is, I do have the touch of looking at charts, and I do have the touch of explaining to people what that chart means. So I just love it. I found my secret power was I love spreadsheets, and I love to just like deep dive, look at data, just study things, and then knit together a narrative that makes sense for people. So I always say, follow your superpower. And even if you like games, which I love games, it doesn't have to be making games. That's the whole thing, is you don't have to make games. That's not the pinnacle. A lot of people are like, well, if I'm not making games, then I'm not the ultimate gamer. No, you can just, if you find a way to do what you love, it doesn't necessarily have to be making the game, like literally putting the pixels. And that's a thing that you only get when you turn 40 or maybe 30, somewhere when you've kind of matured. You're like a fine wine. Once you've matured, you're like, wait a minute, let's do what I'm really good at. And that's just an important life lesson, kids. All right, so I'm designing a 3D well, actually, I didn't understand this question. I am sorry, I didn't understand this question. I think it was kind of a capsule question. It was like, I'll just read it. I'll do it because you submitted the question. I'm designing a 3D intricate private box for gamers to enter the game space without playing at all. It's like Metro Station for a capsule for Steam. Do you think it's a good idea? I don't actually know what this question is. I'm sorry. I should just skip this question. I'm sorry. I don't understand that question. It sounds very high level and very interesting. I just don't know what it is. Okay, for developers hedging their bets by making multiple games specifically, what are the latest Steam tips, strategies that we should know right now? Here's what I would do. And again, this is kind of covered in the secrets thing. If you're making small, quick release games, I would time it around a Steam Nextfest. Make sure that you have a demo ready for Steam Next Fest. Reach out to streamers. That's like half the battle. If you could do stream, here's actually the order I would do. Okay, let's pretend you're making a game in 3 months, which is crazy. But let's say 6 months. 6 months is how long you should make it. 3 months to make it, 6 months to market it. You should do a minimum of 6 months, okay? So month one, do a big announcement trailer, try and get it into IGN, get TikTokers to play it, post it on Reddit. See if that works. If it doesn't work, your next bet is get a demo out as soon as you can. Get that demo out, get it to streamers to play. After they've played it a lot, then do the last Next Fest. Do any festivals that are on howtomarketagame.com/festivals. Apply for all those festivals. Hope you get into some. Then time it. Do Steam Next Fest, and then shortly after Steam Next Fest, launch your game. That's how you launch a game in 6 months after 3 months development. There's no rule. Here's the other thing. Even if you make a quick game, let's say you take 3 months, 1 month, 2 months, there's no rule that says as soon as you push commit to your repository to Git or something, you finish the game, it's gold, you push Git, you immediately have to release the game. There's no rule in the universe that has to happen. So even if you finish the game in 1 month, I would still do 6 months of marketing. So it's like all done. It's gold. Just sit on it and market your heart out until 6 months and then launch it. Steam did analysis. 6 months is like the minimum best time to do it. Unless it goes super viral. Look at this game called Don't Scream. They went super viral in 2 weeks. They got 100,000 wish lists because Indie Game Joe is kind of a Twitter genius. He went viral 2 weeks, 100,000 wish lists. It's a horror game, which kids always make a horror game. He launched it shortly after that, and it did good. So that's the only time I'd say do it quick, is if it's getting hot and you get 100,000 and it's ready to go, just go for it. What else are you waiting for? Just get it. All right, let's go back to the questions that are asked live. Great questions, everyone. All right. Any idea why Steam loves strategy games but not RTS? Here's my theory. Okay, so I've done enough genre research and just watching games. For some reason, RTS just doesn't do it. I don't know. I love RTS. StarCraft 2 is one of my favorite games. It's probably my most played game and the most rage-inducing. Okay, I like RTSs, but if you note, I like just a few RTSs. I like StarCraft 2, and I can sometimes I still have dreams of doing the Terran build order for StarCraft 2. I still have dreams. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not making supply depots. BS. I still have dreams of that thing. Here's the thing about RTSs is they're very similar to fighting games in that you have to specialize in an RTS. RTS fans specialize. They're like, this is my RTS. I'm going to learn the build order for Terran. I'm going to go there. They're not omnivorous. Okay. The other thing is, and it's kind of taken, I think a big portion of the RTS audience has been taken over by Dotas, the League of Legends style, Lords management games. Okay. They've been captured there. So a big portion of the audience has been carved out by those games. And those games are hobbies now. That is your life. So those games, you are competing with those games. And like I said, people only specialize in one RTS. That's just the nature of it. It's also very hard. RTS are very hard. I just did very much to making games. I just don't have the touch for RTS. I played with a guy who's Grandmaster. He was a friend of mine, and I was having him help me. I couldn't do it. He was like, don't forget your supply depots. You got to expand. And I was like, I just don't have it. After that, I'd played for hundreds of hours, and he coached me through it. I was like, I don't have it. A lot of people just can't do RTSs at the premium level. And so they specialize. They can't do it at the premium level, and that's it. And that's the audience. So the audience is taken by that. The other genres, like a strategy genre, are much more chill. A lot of them are turn-based, so people can chill. Streamers can stop the stream, chat it up, chat with the audience, get back to doing their strategy. Whereas an RTS, you have to lock in. So a lot of the streamers are locked in unless you're a strategy player like, like Day 9 or something, who can play the RTS games and talk, and then they do it. So it's hard to stream. The audience is very solo. They lock into a single RTS, so they're not as omnivorous. They don't try as many strategy games, and that's what it is. I think that's why RTSs don't work. That's just my theory, but that's why RTSs just don't do that. Okay, you shouldn't release in the Steam Next Fest, I heard. How long before and after would it be okay? I get this question all the time, and I don't know. And here's the reason is, well, okay, Steam Next Fest takes over the page, so you lose out on the Steam, the new and trending, popular, upcoming, or they do have it, but it's way deep down. So you lose that visibility from that widget. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to be smart. And I get this question all the time. Like, I am going to launch a week after Steam Next Fest, immediately after. Isn't that smart? I don't think it is, because I've been asked that question so many times. Here's the thing. When you launch, it's not how big the game you're launching against is. It is how many games you are launching next to. And if everybody's asking me, I'm going to launch right after Steam Next Fest when I have all this momentum. I don't know why they're wagging the finger at me, but they sometimes do. Then it's like, if everybody's asking that, that means everybody's thinking that. That means a lot of games are going to launch right at that time, which is not good, because popular, upcoming, and new and trending have 10 spots, 10 game spots. And if there's 10 games launching on the same day, that's bad, because you're crowded out of popular, upcoming, and new and trending. Not good. That's a big miss in visibility that you could get. That's why I'm thinking, look at SteamDB will list all the games that are coming out. That's a better thing to do. It doesn't matter if it's after Steam Next Fest or not. Just look at how many games are releasing every week. I haven't done the analysis. That's what I'm waiting on. I should do it. Look to see right around after Next Fest, are there like 12 games in the queue that are like hot? They've got at least 7,000 wish lists, and they're going to, possibly launch. Okay. Which leads to the next question, which was submitted by a viewer who couldn't come today. They asked, what's the deal with 7,000? This is a basic question, but everybody needs to know it. Okay. Why do I always say you need 7,000 wish lists before you launch? Okay. So Steam doesn't give a lot of it. So let me back up a little bit here. The whole reason you're on Steam is because Steam amplifies visibility. And when you sell well, they give you more visibility. And most of the big things, and this is what I talk about in my Inside conference that I'm going to talk about, is most of the secrets that you can unlock only happen after you've already proven to Steam that you make a lot of money, like $100,000 within a month or something, like hot. That's when Steam's like, okay, we're going to give you all the keys to the kingdom. You can do all this cool stuff. Before that, Steam doesn't give you much. There isn't much visibility boost they give you before you reach that $100,000, 300,000 limit, okay, which I call real Steam. Before real Steam, there's not a lot that they give you. It's on your own, buddy. You are on your own to bring your own visibility. Except there's a couple widgets that they help you a little bit. It's not going to make or break your, it's not going to like make you a millionaire, but it helps. It's the tiniest little morsel that they give us poor indies. And that is popular, upcoming widget, new and trending widget, discovery queue, and more like this, which is this section at the bottom. Those are like the little tiny carrots they give us little baby gamers. And the way you get into popular, upcoming, it's like a ladder. Okay. The very first rung that they baby give you is called popular, upcoming. And that's the first one. And to get on there by launch, you have to have around 7,000. I always do this because yes, it's based off velocity, and it's not just a pure number. There's some other algorithm stuff in there, but pretty much every game that gets 7,000, 5,000 wish lists ends up in popular, upcoming for some period of time. Okay. And that's the first step of the ladder. Now, there are games like Jake Burkett of Great Alien Games, who launched Regency Solitaire 2, actually didn't have enough wish lists for popular, upcoming, but they were able to get into new and trending, which is one rung up. See, you get into popular, upcoming, that gives you a lot of visibility and sales, which boosts you into new and trending, which is the next rung. See, it's like step 1, step 2, and you're like starting to climb that visibility ladder. Jake Burkett's been around for like 15 years or more, and so he could bypass the popular, upcoming, and he just stepped on the next rung up, which is new and trending. That's very hard. You have to be in there, or your game has to be super hot. So that's why I always say 7,000. That's the first rung. Now, you could still fall off the ladder after that first rung and never get back up, but you got to get at least hit for the first rung. So that's why I say you got to get that 7,000. It's after that, if you don't hit that 7,000, it gets increasingly harder to climb the visibility ladders of Steam and eventually get into real Steam where you start selling. It's a ladder, and they give you little tiny steps in the beginning. So you got to get on that ladder. All right. Let's see, just making sure that all these, that I'm still connected, that the spiders are still weaving their silk. Okay. So just a reminder, Staying Inside Conference. It's my conference every year that I do after GDC, where I pick the best talks and I say, hey, can you just tell my audience, they can't all go to San Francisco, X on the San Francisco. They can't afford all that. They can't do it. So for a much cheaper price, I get the best details of the best talks, and I just give them straight to your brain, instead of having to buy a hotel room in San Francisco and all that. So it's a much cheaper conference. And if you buy it this hour, we have 25 minutes left. I have to end right at the top of the hour because I got to take the kid to school. At the top of the hour, or in the half an hour, I should say, at the end of this hour, I'm killing this coupon. So you get $15 off now if you buy it now. And if you buy it this hour, I'm going to also give you a free copy of last year. So you can, while you're like anticipating like all weekend, you're going to be like, God, I can't wait for this conference. Well, you can watch last year's because all the video recordings. So when you buy this conference, you get all the recordings because yes, everything I do is recorded. So even if you can't make them, because I'm on their schedules, on these expert schedules, I know some like Coded Horse is going to do it at 8:30 my time. That's almost bedtime for me. Okay. So I'm going to be rolling in at a much lower energy level, but I'm still going to be bringing it. I know that's going to be like 2:30. I did the math. It's like 2:30 in England. Yikes. I don't expect you all to attend that, but the recording will be posted very shortly after, so you can watch the recording. So all the talks will be recorded and you have access to them. But in the meantime, you get access. If you buy this hour, you get free access to this thing. This thing is now down to $30, but you get it free if you buy it this hour. So you can watch the old last year's conferences and that sort of thing. Let me go back to more questions. It's like before going to conferences, like moving from 0 to, I don't understand the question. Sorry, Nilesh, I don't understand the question about it's like before going to conferences, like moving from 0 to first 2K wishes. Please state that in a question. I don't know. I'm sorry, Nilesh. Okay. Kyle Frost, can you explain how and why the Steam page broadcasts are effective if nobody seems to watch them? This is a very funny thing. Yes. I close them all the time. And when I did my Steam study, people closed them too. That's the thing. Now, here's the thing. This is a thing that I always see on the Discord or anytime I post any advice, like on Twitter or something, people always go, well, I wouldn't do that. It's like, yeah, but you are a game designer weirdo. Like, you are the most creative, technically advanced, probably rich, I mean, not rich, but, you know, top tier countries financially. You're probably very well educated. You are a very thin crust of the egg. You are the outer shell of the egg. There are a lot of people that are very different from you. So I don't like the, I'm not saying you, Nick, but just anytime, or Kyle, anytime somebody's like, well, I don't do that. All my friends don't. Well, all your friends are just like you because people are always like their friends. I don't do that. Well, it's not about you. It's other people are different. But I have noticed, even after doing a study, a lot of people just close that window. Here's why. Here's why the broadcasting and why you should do it for Steam Nextfest. Always do it for Steam Nextfest. Always broadcast from 2 days earlier. Start 48 hours. Get RoboStreamer so that you don't have to host it on your local computer with your spiderweb internet. Don't do that. Get RoboHost, which is a remote cloud thing. Totally endorse that guy. You just pay it's like $5. He really should raise his prices, but that's neither here nor there. You pay like $5 and you get a host, like a video for the whole Nextfest. Start it 2 days early and just let it run all the way through Steam Nextfest and have a broadcast on your Steam page. Now, the reason is not for the individual person. And this is the brain change that a lot of people have to do in the meta. And this is what I talk about in this conference. I actually talk about the brain change you have to make. You are not marketing to one person. You are marketing to Steam to market to people. In that video, even though everybody clicks the X and closes the video, you are doing that for the algorithm, because when you opt into broadcasts, they put on Steam Nextfest, you get to opt into 2 featured streams. And what they do is they have a widget on the front page of Steam that lists all the games that are broadcasting right now who have opted into one of those 2 slots. They've used their 2 slots, and then you get right on the front page. And it's not the video that does it. It's that the Steam puts your video on the top. That's it. It's not the video that does it. It's the fact that the algorithm puts you on the top. You see, it's nothing about the video. It's not about one person. It's about the collective algorithm. That's the brain change we all need to make. So the other thing is, if you are really coming in hot, thousands and thousands of wish lists, there's a widget on Steam front page that says popular streams. And you want to get that, again, you get yourself featured in there when you're in that thing. So that's why, Kyle, it's not one person. Yes, I always close it myself. It's about the algorithm in the whole. Are there Steam festivals that are as valuable as Nextfest for discoverability? Yeah, here's the thing. Nextfest isn't actually the best festival. There are other ones that are even better, and the themed ones. And go to howtomarketagame.com/festivals. It's our spreadsheet compiled by the community. And if you find a festival that's not on the sheet, please message me in the Discord or go @mods at event-mods. Okay, tell us. Please tag. We don't read everything. We can't read every message you folks are posting in there. So be sure to tag at event mods. We compile that thing. Some festivals, if it's a smaller thing, see the Steam Nextfest always has like 1,000 games in it, literally 1,000 plus. Some of these smaller festivals, like I don't know, Triple I festival that just happened, they're not that many. It's like 12 games. Those can provide many more wish lists than Steam Nextfest. It's just the thing that's magic about Steam Nextfest is you're going to get into it. You are definitely know the date it's going to happen because there's 3 per year. You get to pick the date. It's just Steam Nextfest is a bullet that you can fire. Whereas all the other festivals are a lucky crapshoot. You don't know if you're going to get, because you apply, the other festivals evaluate you. Are you good? We also don't know if that festival is going to get front page Steam featuring. The only reason we talk about Steam Nextfest so much is because it is a thing you have control over. You get to pick the date that it happens. When you do it, you are guaranteed a spot. The thing that's not guaranteed is where your placement is, how much velocity you have going into the next fest, what widgets you're going to have. That's a question. We don't know what that is. But the reason we always talk about Steam Nextfest is it's something you can control. All the other festivals you can't control. It's pure luck and dreams whether you get into it. So that's why we talk about it. Okay. Are Steam capsules with new update elements a good practice? Steam said no more of that because people were putting so much on there, and they released a blog post that said no more putting text in there that's anything other than new update. But now people are still doing them. Still see them. They'll be like Nextfest build or something. They basically said unless it's something like new content or version 2.0 that you can't put anything else there. But people completely ignore that, and I haven't heard anybody getting in trouble for that. So they're like, they didn't enforce their own thing on that. So I think it helps. Who knows? It's hard to tell, but hey, it's pretty easy. Use what's called artwork override in Steamworks. You can specify, hey, I want this different capsule to show up for the next whatever period of time, and it auto flips you back. I think you should do it. I mean, officially, Steam says do not do it. Don't do it. But you probably can. There's no, they're not going to yell at you if you do something weird. All right. I'm going to switch over to some people who couldn't show up. Thank you so much for showing up. We got about 20 minutes, so pop your questions in there. Okay, for developer, let's see. Okay, got that one. Are tactic games like XCOM a good genre for indie developers to make? Okay, this is tricky. And we're always learning stuff. So here's my theory. I have seen a couple XCOM style games, top-down tactical, not do well. They underperformed. They got a lot of wish lists, but they underperformed. And my working theory, I haven't done it. I want to work on a blog post about this. Here's my working theory. I feel like XCOM style tactical strategy games, which I love. I played the original XCOM. I played the second generation XCOM. I love those games. They're kind of like Dark Souls in the fact that the audience is very, very demanding. They love the games. They like to see them. They wish list them, or are excited about them. Like that guy Iron Pineapple. Like if Iron Pineapple plays a Dark Souls, like that game gets tons of wish lists. And I think the same thing is with an XCOM. You can show a screenshot with a grid and like action points and all that stuff. People will wish list it. But if the game is not 100% on point, good strategy, good AI, good UI, perfect, the fans hate it so hard and they don't buy it. The same thing with Dark Souls. If the combat isn't precise to the level of Dark Souls, if the animations are kind of just a little off, or it's a little laggy, whatever it is about combat, if it's not up to 100% Dark Souls standards, they hate it. And so I think that an XCOM-like game is good marketing-wise. Like it's a genre that's in demand, but it is very hard. You have to have a lot of content. The strategy and the AI has to be top tier, and everything has to be hitting at 100%. And if it's not hitting 100%, it fails. So it's very risk reward in XCOM. For a first-time team, I do not recommend it, just based on you don't even understand how hard it is because you're first new blood. So don't start with an XCOM game if it's your first game. I've even seen veteran studios making an XCOM game, and it didn't do well because of that high bar of quality that you have to meet. So I don't really do that for first-time indies. How do I get invited to these non-public Steam-themed events? howtomarketagame.com/festivals. They're put together by the community. In other words, like community sees this and we're starting to get enough of a reputation that I'm getting contacted by organizers and say, can you put this on your list? Yes, I love that. If you are an organizer of a festival, please message me or put it in the events channel, upcoming events chat, and do @mod-events. Let us know if we think your festival is legit and you're not just scamming people. We will put you on the list. There are some events. I can never remember. I think it's either Wholesome Snack or Wholesome Direct. One of those two. There is no thing. There's no open application for these. It's kind of just being a cool kid, which I don't like. I don't like how you just be a cool kid. But basically what you do is, I think one of those Wholesome games, Snack or Direct, I can't remember which one. They just look at Twitter. It's always Twitter. Nowadays TikTok too. And if you're a cool kid and they think your game's cool, they're just like, you want to be in a super cool kids festival? And they just like message you on the down low and say, do you want to be in there? And you always say yes. That's one of those where it's like, there's no application for them. You just got to be a cool kid. I don't like that. I don't like that thing, but it is a really good festival. So be a cool kid, share your art, share on. That's one of the reasons why you share on social media, TikTok, Twitter, not because it gives you a direct result. It just gets you known by the cool kids. That's unfortunately the way it works. So, okay. Is it worth the effort to cold email streamers, especially the bigger ones? Don't they usually find games on their own? They do not. And that is why, speaking of cool kids, Jenny, who is influencer outreach at Kepler Interactive, will teach us how to reach out to influencers, how to email. It's always backwards. Jenny, this is a good one. We're going to literally get the emails that she writes to streamers to get coverage. We're going to do it. This is the question that she's going to answer. How do I get streamers to cover my game? How do I email them? I'm going to tell you. Well, she's going to tell you. I'm going to ask it, and she's going to tell you. So definitely, Inside Conference. Again, you have 20 minutes to book it. No, you do not. You have like 12 minutes to book it. 12 minutes. After this, the price goes up by another $5, and you don't get the free conference. You have to buy it this hour, otherwise you don't get the good stuff. So definitely, come on, it's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun. It's like GDC, but you don't have to be in San Francisco. All right. Steam Nextfest ends June 17th and summer sale starts June 27th. Is it dangerous to launch June 18th right after my game? See, somebody asked a question. They want to do it. I don't, based on the number of people who ask me this, makes me think that everybody's thinking the same thing, and it's just going to crowd everybody else out. I just look at SteamDB, see how many games are launching at that week. I have a feeling it's going to be a very busy week, and you don't want to be in a busy week. I think the better strategy is launch during a AAA game, and we're going to talk about that in my talk about why you should actually launch during a AAA game. If you want to know the answer a little bit early, just search my blog for Chillquarium. Okay. I think it's better to launch during a period where there's not much traffic, when there aren't many games launching, which is usually during a AAA launch. We'll get into that, and I'll give you the argument for that, but that's my better thought. Also, I think indies spent a little too long thinking about when they should launch and not enough about what genres to pick, but that's just another bugaboo that I got. All right. So, okay, the Steam Nextfest docs pages are a little confusing me. Do you really have to sign up like 4 months in advance, or am I misunderstanding the timeline? Look at the June Nextfest. It says registration deadline is in February, but February's already passed. Yep. Steam Nextfest, the applications are way early. So, for all of you, I don't know if the specific person, Ian, I don't know your situation, Ian, but this is why I always say, do the last Nextfest before you launch. Now, I know 4 months, some indies don't know 4 months in advance if they're going to launch. You can always opt out. So if you know maybe we're going to launch, opt into the next one. It's a little late now. So after June Nextfest, they're going to immediately have the applications for October. Just opt into it. If you maybe think that's just going to happen, opt in. You can always drop out within like 2 weeks before the Nextfest starts. You can always drop out, okay? There's no penalty. They don't hate you if you drop out. They don't. So opt in to the one that you think maybe is going to happen. 2, You might, Ian, go to support. There's a support tab in Steamworks. Find it. Just submit a support ticket and say, hey, 4 months is way too early. I didn't know. Can I get into the Summer Next Fest? I'm ready to go. Everything's good. And you better be ready, because if you make them do this and then you're like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I decided not to June. Well, what the hell? That wasn't very nice. So make sure you definitely try and open a support ticket. Sometimes they can let you in. But for the most part, for folks that aren't Ian, if you think you might be in the Next Fest, just apply. You can always drop out. There's no penalty for dropping out. As long as it's like a month in advance, okay? For new horror games demo release, is it better to join the October Next Fest or Halloween Fest? Can I submit to both? You can. There's the only thing is there's only one Next Fest. That's the only rule. Only one Next Fest. But all the other ones, you can do either one. So I think both are good, assuming that that's the Next Fest that you want to do. Okay. Horror promo question in all caps. Do horror video games have to follow a different marketing path, or do we have the same like demos, etc.? Here's the one thing that horror has that the other ones don't. You can do whatever you want, but with horror, the magic thing about horror games is their trailers and their media, the like social media, TikTok, can go viral like nothing else. That's why I think every indie developer should make at least one horror game. Even if you don't like horror, make a legit horror game. Not like, oh, it's a deck builder horror game. Oh, it's an XCOM mixed with horror, mixed with a dating sim. No, just make a freaking horror game where a monster chases you. Just make a legit horror game, okay? The cool thing about legit horror games, like straight up horror games, is you can just go viral with like a trailer or just like a gif of a monster. Usually it's a girl who's entirely white wearing a white dress just screaming at you. You can go viral with that, which is amazing. Like, look at Don't Scream. They had a girl in a white dress. She walks backwards on her hands, screams at you. That went viral, got 100,000 wishes. Okay. So you can go viral with a horror game. So what I say is go really hard the first month that you're announcing your horror game. TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. Have a girl in a white dress scream at you and just say, this is a horror game. You can go viral with that. If you do that, you probably don't need a demo because it's so hot. Now, you might do a quick demo for Next Fest, but horror games are one of the few genres that can get away with just being social media, YouTube, TikTok, viral, and then launching into a successful thing. Again, look at Don't Scream. They did this very similar. No demo, no nothing. But if you try your hardest that first month, you try and go viral, and you do not go viral, then you have to do the demo because that's your next best shot. And actually, that's what I'm going to talk about in my talk, is how to use the new meta of Steam, which is a lot about this. I'll be talking about that on, I think the new meta is Monday. The very first talk on Monday at 12:30 Pacific time. I'm going to be talking about the new meta and how to do this stuff. So that's what my talk is. So be sure to book it. You have 8 minutes left. No, 7 minutes. 7 minutes left to book that. Okay. We took place in the Next Fest 2 years ago, and when the game was at its first stage. Now our game looks totally different. Is there a chance to join Next Fest? There is not. There is not. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You can only do one Next Fest, and they're very mean about it. That's why I say do the last Next Fest before you launch. For this very reason, sometimes your game changes, the looks change, that sort of thing. That's just the way it goes. So you cannot. I am sorry. There's nothing you can do. I have a 3D game in the works and both action, adventure, and platforming elements. Should I advertise one more than the other? I don't know. You have to find out by testing it. So 1 month, say this is an action adventure game. And then the next month, say this is a platformer. See which one gets you more traction, which one people respond to, which one people like better. But here's the thing. Those genres actually aren't that different. Action, adventure, is platformer. The question comes more when it's like, oh, this is a dating sim combined with a card combat game. Then it's like, oh, is it this? But action, adventure, and platformer are very similar, actually. So I think you just say action, adventure, platformer. I don't think it's that different. But anyway, you just never know. And that's why, again, I say do Next Fest at the end, because you've dialed in your marketing. You found out what actually responds to the audience. What you can do stuff like run ads, and not for the purpose of like, oh, do my ads convert? Just see which ad gets the best conversion. Say this is an action adventure game, and then do a different ad that says this is a platformer. See which one gets more clicks, and whichever one it is, that's probably the one you should advertise as. I don't know. You've got to test it. All these games, we never know. We just test it and see which one gets the best reaction. Reach out to streamers. Say, this is an action adventure game. Reach out to more streamers. This is a platformer. Which one gets more traction with streamers? That's what you got to figure out. We never know these things. Games are magic. We never know. I have a 3D game in the works with both. Oh, that's one. Same one. Thank you, Daniel, for your question. Do you think Steam has changed something regarding their visibility? It's just that I've been noticing games releasing recently with tens of thousands of wishes from big publishers like Devolver, example, Pepper Grinder, and Children of the Sun not having as many views in the first week. I think this is actually so the case is, so folks playing at home, Pepper Grinder is a 2D platformer grinder. Where it's like you got a grinding thing, launched by Devolver, it didn't do very well. Then another one was this other game called, what was it called? Children of the Sun, not doing as well. Here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with the visibility. Look at both of those games. Pepper Grinder is a platformer, pixel art platformer. Pepper Grinder is a puzzle game, masquerading as a shooter, but it's actually a puzzle game. Nothing has changed. Those genres are not great for Steam. They're not the Steam genre. Like, I feel for those developers. I liked both those games. They looked really cool. But the Steam audience does not like. This is my hot take, which I'm kind of coming. If you are controlling the main character, like if I push up on the stick and the player goes forward, that is risky. It is very risky to make a game where you control the main character. The games that Steam likes, you are actually controlling the meta. You are like a city builder. You're controlling a cursor that goes around and says, place a building here, or a strategy game where it's like, move the units to here and your cursor. If you are an indie game, it is best, in general, the best success comes when you control a cursor, not the main character. It's like both of those games are controlling the main character. And for a long time, those games have not done as well where you control the main character. It's just, for some reason, indies never take that message. And it's now that we look at these games much harder, we start to realize this, and social sharing that stuff. It's just that we notice it more. But for the longest time, this has been the case. And this is what I've been telling indies. Stop making these platformers because they just don't do as well as games where you control a cursor, where you're like upgrading stuff, crafting things, building things. Those are the types of games that Steam likes. Steam likes games where you're a cursor. So, okay, we got 2 minutes left. After this, I'm killing the coupon. So this is basically the last warning. Conference starts Monday at 12:30 Pacific time, when I'm going to speak about the new meta on Steam. And we're going to go from there. So be sure to lock in that thing because you're going to miss out if you don't. Keymailer, is it good feature? I don't know. We'll ask Jenny. Let's ask Jenny. We'll ask Jenny about Keymailer. Do the videos stay on demand if we can't catch it live? Yes, everything is recorded. It is always recorded. I didn't wear my shirt today, but here it is. My whole life is recorded. Yes, this will be recorded. I almost wore it, but I was like, I don't want to change my shirt. But yes, everything I ever do is recorded and it's going live, including this video. This video is going to go live on my YouTube channel shortly after today because it takes a while to render these things. So everything I do is recorded and it will go on live. So all these will be recorded. Even if you can't catch them live, they will get recorded. And when you buy this, you have access to the old recordings. Even last year's you can still access it. And if you buy this hour in the next 1 minute, you can have access to it. So lock in that buy button, push that buy button right now. Otherwise, you're going to miss it because, you can still get the conference after this. I'm going to send an email after this thing that says go buy it, but the price is going to go up and you're not going to get the free last year's conference. Okay, thank you so much for all these questions. I'm sorry I'm going to get through all these. Well, these so many questions. Buy a Coffee DLC. We're actually going to talk about it in one of my other talks. Buy a Coffee DLC and when it worked and when it didn't. So that's it. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for showing up. Let me see if I can get one more question in. Keymailer again. Don't know anything different about marketing a VR title. Yes, they don't work on Steam. Steam does not buy VR titles. Unfortunately, my last year's conference, I interviewed a consultant for VR games, Cassia Karan. Basically, what you got to do, VR games, it's all on Meta. You got to get on the Meta store. You got to work with them. They curate the store. That's what you got to do. So that's the 30-minute mark. I got to run. Great talking to you. Thank you so much for showing up. I hope to see you at the conference. Have a great Friday. Have fun. Good luck, everybody.